Hello. So it's always hard to do this because um, I can never get my camera adjusted or my phone adjusted the right way on the steering wheel. And so I spend like 5 minutes trying to figure out what to do. And then I finally get it. I'm like, this may work, this may not. So we just go with it. I'm always afraid that I'm going to have my chin down too far and look really fat. Anyways. So yesterday I told you, I ended off by saying that you're your worst problem. And that's true, because it's your flesh that wants to steal, kill, and destroy. Um, it, Galatians 5:19 through 20 talks about. Talks about evil, the flesh, your sinful nature, desires sexual immorality, impure thoughts, eagerness for lustful pleasure, idolatry, participation in demonic activity, hostility, quarreling, jealousy, outbursts, and anger, self-ambitions, divisions, the feeling that everyone is wrong except for those in your little group. So that's what the flesh thinks. But we have the Spirit, and the Spirit is full of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, and none of those are against the law. They all complete the law, so there's no reason for you to ever be accused of not completing them. Okay, so all this stuff that I said was problems with the flesh, everybody seems to blame on the devil, which is your flesh. So it's kind of, by saying there is no devil, it's not true, because there is a devil, but the devil isn't some person who walks around with a pitchfork and some horns and throws stuff at you, throws fiery arrows at you. It's your thoughts. In fact, in Isaiah 14, it talks about Lucifer, or the devil, Satan, wanting to exalt himself above the stars of God, the throne of God. Above, I should be more prepared. Here we go. That's what I kind of like about this. I'm not prepared. I look at a little bit of stuff, but I don't come prepared. How often you fall from the heaven, O shining star, son of the morning. You have been thrown down to earth, you who destroyed the nations of the world. For you said yourself, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's throne. I'll set my throne above God's stars. I will preside on the mountain of God's far in the north. I will climb to the highest heavens and be like the Most High. But instead you will be brought down to the place of the dead, down to its lowest depths. Everyone will stare at you and ask, can this be the one who shook the kingdom of the world? Is this the one who destroyed the world and made it into a wilderness? Is the king who demolished the world's greatest cities and had no mercy on us? Is this the person who did that? So, Lucifer is a weakling. He has no power. The way I imagine him is SpongeBob. He's plankton. There was this episode where Like it shows Plankton. It's this big, monstrous, evil guy, and he's going around destroying cities. And then it pulls out, and he's just this little tiny speck, just making these noises, and he's nothing to worry about. Mr. Kraft like picks him up and flicks him, and I don't know. So it's not Lucifer. Satan is not anything to worry about. God has destroyed him. God has he was kicked out of heaven when he tried to exalt himself above the stars of God, and then when Jesus was crucified and atoned sin forever, he took on all the punishment for sin. Nobody could ever be accused of sin. He didn't have any reason to be in the earth anymore, so he was kicked out of the earth. So Lucifer or Satan is not your problem. The problem is sin. And sin came into this world, but we are greater than him that is in the world. Everything in the world is made of the world, so sin is in everything. Sin is the devil. So, where's it going with that? So, God, that's why you're your own problem, because sin is the devil, and the devil's in your flesh, or sin's in your flesh. So, we want to do all these fleshy things. We want to eat too much. We want to do all the stuff that it says in the Bible not to do. But that's not the way what God's called us to do. God's called us to be righteous, and we are righteous by living by the Spirit, and that's joy, love, peace, faith, slow to anger. So, everybody, I've always heard, I want God to say, I approve of you, the same way that God said that this is my son, I approve of him. And so the reason why the reason why God said that is because up until that point Jesus didn't have the gifts of faith. When Jesus was baptized and the Spirit descended on him like a dove, he was then endowed with the Holy Spirit, the sanctified attitude, and he now had peace, joy, love, hope, and he had faith. So because faith pleases God, now Jesus pleased God as well. So if you have faith, if you're born again, if you have the spirit of faith, then you please God. The one thing I think God is going to say is, you're going to get to heaven, and God be like, I sent you, I gave you all this power, gave you all this armor, I endowed you to do all the stuff that I want you to do. But you're going to say, but the devil, he was so hard, I always had to fight him. But God's going to be like, you let this guy, I mean, it says in the Bible, who's this? Is this guy who destroyed all the world? I mean, Satan isn't anything to worry about. God is structure and order, the devil is disorder and chaos. So he has nothing. So we ask Jesus into our heart, we get filled with the Holy Spirit, and the evidence of that is like speaking in tongues, healing, miraculous signs and wonders. And so we get clothed with the armor of God, and I think it loses a lot when it talks about the old spiritual armor. It's more like when we're clothed with the armor of God, to bring it more into a current example, which many pastors have done this before, but it's like you become Iron Man. You get this suit that has everything inside of it. You just have to imagine Tony Stark saying Iron Man, whatever he says, and pressing a button, and then all of a sudden all this stuff comes inside of you. He doesn't have to sit there and just put it all on and tighten it and make sure it's all fit correctly in order to use it. He just automatically has it. And that's the same way it is with the armor of God. You're clothed with it. It's something that automatically happens. Movies are it's so funny. All these popular movies are so good, but I think they're so good because they speak to a truth that we all have inside of us, that we are great on the inside and it's hidden, and we want to show it. Another one I think is a really good example is Pacific Rim. They have those big Jaeger monsters, but what the teaching I got out of it is the Jaeger monster has two pilots. They have to synchronize each other, so you have to be compatible with the other pilot, or else it's not going to work. Or you can't do it by yourself because it's too much of a cerebral load and it just doesn't function correctly. So the co-pilot in your Jaeger monster, your Jaeger monster, and your Jaeger is the Holy Spirit. Who you synchronize with is the Holy Spirit. You get your line, you just line up with the Holy Spirit, and you guys work together, and your body, which is the Jaeger, goes through and it defeats all these bad enemies. And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of a funny analogy. But it's just like that. You have to get together with the Holy Spirit in order to control your body, to have it do what you want it to do. And if you don't control it with the Holy Spirit, then it's not going to work correctly. What was another example I thought of? Oh no. There's I don't remember seeing it, I just remember seeing clips, but there's Thor 2, and it talks about this evil something that overtakes them, and that's kind of like sin, and that you have to fight that. But I'm all over the place. I had so much to say, but nothing came out correctly. How you doing? Anyways, where was I going with that? I don't know how. It feels like eternity when I don't talk. It feels like I'm not talking for like ever. But when I go back and watch it, it's like 2 seconds gone by. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that bad. But so what did we talk about today? We talked about how the armor of God is like Iron Man. You're clothed with it. It's nothing you have to put on. It's just you press a button and it's there. Oh, and okay, here's another thing. And we think that we have to do this, but 1 Thessalonians 5, which I don't have a complete Bible. It's missing. 1 Thessalonians 5, like 22 or 23 says that faithful is he that called you, because he will do it also. So again, it's like the Jaeger. You just sit there and it's controlled by the inside, and when you're synchronized with the Holy Spirit, it just all happens the way it's supposed to. It's nothing you have to try to do. You don't have to think, oh man, I have to love this man, I have to love this neighbor like myself, man, I have to be holy like God is holy. God qualified you for all that stuff. It's nothing you have to try to do. It's just something you are. So just go out and be awesome today, because you are awesome. And know that you're Tony Stark and you're Iron Man, and that you have to co-pilot your body with the Holy Spirit so that you can avoid anybody stealing, killing, or destroying anything in your life. Have a good day.